Hi guys. Okay, today we're going to do a kind of a review right quick. This is that CONDOR SWAMP ROMPER I recently was gifted by someone. And I wanted to give you my 2 cents on it because, to be honest, I'd never heard of this before. Now, the knife that I was carrying before I got my WC knives was a CONDOR bush lower. Or woods lower, excuse me. I think they call it woods lower. And it was a decent knife, especially it wasn't a terribly expensive knife. It did a good job. It was easy to sharpen. So when I saw this, I wanted to kind of take a little closer look at it. And I've been playing with it in several videos now and spend a little bit of time with it. And it came in this sheath. The original, I think, had a dangler attachment right here, which was a ring that went to a dangler, so you hung this on your belt. You could take them on and off. I typically like a dangler in the winter. And what I'll do is I'll take this, and I'll show this in an upcoming video of how to take and turn a sheath into a dangler sheath and why. So that'll be upcoming. It's got a ferrule rod loop, but it's for the small ferrule rods. So you're going to look around and find a good one for that. But it's a decent piece of leather, and it's sewed well. It's sewed all the way down, and then they make the jog. And it's got the 2 rivets in place, hollow rivets, which is handy because I can anchor other things to it. That'd be a good place for me to anchor something for tension for the ferrule rod. I could hook through that loop and hook to it, or down here to tie to the leg, or tie to suspend it in some different way. I like the fact the back loop is a long loop, makes a good accommodation for different belts and etc. Now it fits by friction fairly well, and you'll notice that it's kind of wet formed on it. So when you pull it, it has to push that leather out of the way. It makes a good snug fit, which I like that. I never like a knife that goes in and out too easily. I do want to be able to pull it and put it one-handed. I don't like a sheath that's so tight. You got and some of the Kydexes are that way. Man, they're great retention, but you can't pull it one-handed. And so that's kind of a thumbs down for me. Yes, I want it to hold it. Yes, I want it to be able to take it if it turns upside down and jiggle it, it doesn't fall out. But if I only got one hand free, I want to be able to pull my knife. Okay, because that might be the only hand I got free, and it might be not be my right hand. It may be my left hand. So I like a sheath I can pull either-handed. Now, the Swamp Romper. It has, just like the sheath, 3 hollow rivets right there, and a piece of nice wood. It's got a nice finger guard on it, which I really like. And it's got the Coke bottle-like grip. Now, my WC knives, I like the Coke bottle grip better. But this is not a bad shape right there. The hand fits into it okay. And if I was to put me a pinky loop into it, like I've taught, where I could stick it and come down here and do like this for like chopping and not be able to sling it out of my hand, which I will do that in an upcoming thing. I'll add a loop to here for that. It's a full-length tang, fairly decent. And I do not know what the steel is, but most of the ones coming out of CONDOR were like $10.95, something like that. This doesn't show signs of wanting to rust, but I don't think it's stainless either, just because along the edge I can see the grain, and that's normally a carbon or some form of carbon steel. So that's what I would bet. But how does it work? It works really well. Now, most of the time in our woodscraft, we're going to be doing green wood, okay? Because we're going to cut a limb or whatever, and we're going to make a little pot hook or whatever real quick. So green. So that type of grind where it's not hollow ground, but it's a full taper all the way from the back, and there is just a little bit of a hollow in the middle, but not much. And then it comes up the edge, and then you got a good grind on it right there, kind of like a Scandi. Scandies are great whenever you're doing green wood, softwoods. They're not so good in other things, but they do really good for this. And so for this, on something green, it just slices very easily. And that's what I like. You're looking to slice, okay? Hit, pull. So whenever you come up here and you do the chest pull and things like that, it's going to be a easier knife to work with. And you can turn it around backwards, and that thumb hook fits in the crook of the hand right there to secure it. So when I come up here and I do the chest lever to pull like this and dig in and really pull, I can hog off wood with it. Same time, Easily fits up there for me to take and push away from me and get pretty good strokes on it. This bay, once you get down past the bark, she starts getting a little tough, which is good. This one's cut about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So it's starting to get that. Still got green bark on it, but the core is starting to get a little hard. But even then, it slices well. And you see I can make long, thin feathers out of this. So if you're wanting a feather sticking knife, this would be pretty good. Now if you look up the center, the tip is just off to this side, off of dead center by about, say an 1/8 of an inch. That's fine, because when I'm trying to do this, to make cuts, to make a divot for a bow drill or something like that, I want the center kind of close to that center. I don't want it out here, and that's one of the things I got against the K-bar, is because that tip's so far back, you're kind of having to bent wrist it to come around to do things like that, and it's thin and fragile. That is good and thick all the way to the tip, so it's got a strong tip in it, which would be very good for crafting, where I can do this and actually bore a hole all the way through something like this in order to make a place for a cord to pass through or whatever, or a bow drill divot or whatever. So slices easy and makes nice thin slices. Very important in certain things. Now the back of it is a 90 degree, and that means that I can take that back and scrape to make fine shavings, like right there. Something that's often overlooked as a fire starter is being able to get an edge like this and to make those fine shavings that can catch a spark easy, and etc. Now, I don't know what the going price of these at the time that you're watching this video, but whenever I looked this up recently, and I believe that it was on Amazon or Smoky Mountain Knife Works, they were around a $70 knife. So it's a cut above the true beer budget, more like the 6-pack budget, where I want a decent knife at a price, but I just don't have the money to shell out the big bucks for a custom. Something like this might be a good knife for the value for you. Comes with a decent sheath, and the sheath has the carry options. You know, it's a good leather sheath, and it locks in place and stays in place, so it's going to be there no matter what. It's going to be there. It doesn't rattle. And that loop is loose enough where it can be on a wide belt on your hip, or by putting something on here, make a dangler out of it to make it loose, or you could turn it around and lash it up here, old Vietnam style, for a quick grab on an LBE. All in all, decent knife. Now I've been using this now for a little over a week in various projects and jobs and things like that, and I'm so far thumbs up. I think it's a decent knife. So if you're on a budget where you cannot afford the upper end, and you're looking for something that I think would be pretty good for general work in witchcraft, bushcraft, the CONDOR Swamp Romper might be something you want to look at. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you have, please hit that like button before you go. I'd greatly appreciate it. And there'll be more knife reviews and gear reviews coming all along as I find something. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.